From Blackline Archive, we delve into a case that has gripped the nation, a chilling abduction that reaches into the very homes of America's most recognizable figures. This is the story of Nancy Guthrie, an 84-year-old woman, a beloved mother, sister, and grandmother, whose quiet life in the affluent Catalina foothills of Tucson, Arizona, was shattered in the dead of night. Her disappearance on February 1, 2026, sent shockwaves far beyond the desert landscape, largely because Nancy is the mother of Savannah Guthrie, co-host of NBC's Today Show. This isn't just a story about a missing person. It's a stark reminder of vulnerability, the relentless pursuit of justice, and the intricate, often unseen workings of federal law enforcement. Nancy Guthrie's life before this horrific event painted a picture of resilience, faith, and independence. Born and raised in Fort Wright, Kentucky, Nancy built a life rooted in community and family values. Her journey was not without its profound challenges. In 1988, when her daughter Savannah was just 16 years old, Nancy faced the unimaginable loss of her husband, becoming a widow. For 38 years, she navigated life as a single mother, raising 3 children, Savannah, Annie, and Cameron, with unwavering dedication and strength. This period forged in her a deep sense of self-reliance and an enduring spirit. Later in life, seeking the warmth of the Arizona sun and the comfort of family, Nancy made the move to Tucson, settling into the serene, picturesque Catalina foothills. Even at 84, Nancy was remarkably independent, embracing modern technology to maintain her active lifestyle. She utilized ride-sharing services like Uber for transportation, stayed connected with loved ones through her Apple Watch, and ensured her home's security with a Nest camera system. Her faith was a cornerstone of her existence. She was a devoutly religious woman who regularly attended church services, finding solace and community in her spiritual life. This was not a woman who faded into the background. She was vibrant, engaged, and cherished by those around her. Her independence, far from making her isolated, allowed her to live a full and connected life, a testament to her enduring character. Tucson, Arizona itself, is a city of contrasts, a sprawling urban center nestled against the dramatic backdrop of the Santa Catalina Mountains. The Catalina foothills, where Nancy resided, is an exclusive, wealthy enclave, renowned for its stunning desert vistas, luxurious homes, and a pervasive sense of tranquility and security. It's a place where residents often feel insulated from the harsher realities of the world, a seemingly idyllic bubble. Yet this very location carries a unique geographical significance that cannot be overlooked in the context of Nancy's disappearance. Tucson sits approximately 60 miles north of the US-Mexico border, a proximity that, while offering cultural richness and unique landscapes, also presents complex challenges for law enforcement. The vast, often unforgiving desert terrain, coupled with the intricate network of roads and trails leading south, can offer potential escape routes for those seeking to evade capture. For residents of the Catalina foothills, the perceived safety of their secluded neighborhood, with its manicured lawns and gated communities, often fosters a false sense of invulnerability, a belief that such a heinous crime could never touch their lives. This illusion of security was brutally shattered on that fateful night. The evening of January 31, 2026, began like any other for Nancy Guthrie. She enjoyed a pleasant dinner at the home of her daughter Annie and Annie's partner, Tommaso Cioni. It was a typical family gathering, filled with warmth, conversation, and the simple joys of connection. As the evening drew to a close, Nancy prepared to return to her own home. At approximately 9:45 p.m., she arrived back in the Catalina foothills. Her daughter Annie, ever watchful, ensured Nancy made it safely inside, observing as her garage door closed, a final, seemingly innocuous act that marked the last confirmed sighting of Nancy Guthrie before her world and her family's was plunged into a terrifying unknown. That moment, the closing of a garage door, represented the last flicker of normalcy before the darkness descended. No one could have predicted that within hours, the quiet sanctity of her home would be violated, and Nancy would vanish without a trace, leaving behind only questions and a chilling timeline of events. The night it happened unfolded with a series of precise, disturbing data points, each a forensic breadcrumb left by the perpetrator. At 1:47 a.m. on February 1st, 2026, Nancy's Nest doorbell camera abruptly disconnected. This wasn't a malfunction, it was a deliberate act, a digital blindfold placed over the eyes of her home security system. Just 25 minutes later, at 2:12 a.m., the Nest camera's back-end system detected a person near the front door. Then, between 2:28 a.m. and 2:29 a.m., a truly chilling detail emerged. Nancy's pacemaker app disconnected from her phone. This particular data point is profoundly significant. Investigators believe Nancy was most likely asleep when the abduction occurred, which means the disconnection almost certainly happened because her phone was physically removed, damaged, or taken away from her during the intrusion, not because she was consciously interacting with the device. Each of these timestamps represents a critical moment in the unfolding tragedy, painting a fragmented but terrifying picture of what transpired in those early morning hours. They are not just technical details, they are echoes of a violent intrusion, marking the precise moments when Nancy Guthrie's life took a terrifying turn. The discovery of Nancy's disappearance began with the quiet anxieties of a Sunday morning. Nancy, a woman of deep faith, was expected at a planned church service group gathering. When she failed to appear, her absence immediately raised concerns among her family, particularly her daughter Annie. It was uncharacteristic for Nancy to miss such an important commitment without prior notification. Annie, feeling an escalating sense of unease, decided to go check on her mother at her home in the Catalina foothills. What she found, or rather, what she didn't find, was horrifying. Nancy was gone. Her home, usually a sanctuary of warmth and order, was eerily silent, devoid of her presence. The realization that something was terribly wrong prompted Annie to make the desperate call to 911 at 12:03 p.m. This call marked the official beginning of the investigation, transforming a family's private worry into a public crisis. The Pima County Sheriff's Department was immediately alerted, and what began as a missing persons report quickly escalated into something far more sinister. The initial hours were a blur of frantic activity as law enforcement officers descended upon the quiet neighborhood, their presence a stark contrast to the usual tranquility. The investigation opened with a swift and determined response from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Chris Nanos, a seasoned law enforcement official, quickly took charge of the unfolding crisis. Initially, the case was treated as a missing persons report, but the unusual circumstances, particularly the disconnected Nest camera and pacemaker app, raised immediate red flags. By February 2nd, Sheriff Nanos officially classified the case as a kidnapping, a grave pronouncement that confirmed the family's worst fears. This rapid classification underscored the severity of the situation and the compelling nature of the evidence, even in its early stages. The initial search efforts were extensive, involving drones scouring the vast desert landscape, helicopters circling overhead, and a dedicated team of volunteers combing the surrounding areas. The community rallied, offering support and assistance, but Nancy remained elusive. The following day, February 3rd, Sheriff Nanos publicly stated that the motive for the abduction remained unclear, and he could not confirm whether Nancy had been randomly targeted or if she was the victim of a premeditated targeted attack. This uncertainty only deepened the mystery and heightened the family's anguish. It was also around this time that Arizona Republic reporters observed dark red drops on the front steps of Nancy's home. While officials could not immediately confirm the presence of blood, this visual detail added another layer of grim possibility to an already terrifying scenario, suggesting a struggle or injury during the abduction. Then, a chilling development emerged. A ransom note surfaced. It's important to understand, however, that what followed involved not one but two distinct notes, and investigators have treated them very differently. The first note was sent to local CBS affiliate KOLD News 13. According to investigators, its contents confirmed specific details about Nancy's circumstances at the time of her disappearance, details that, officials noted, appeared consistent with insider knowledge of the residents. The second note, a separate document, surfaced through TMZ, the celebrity news outlet, and was attributed to an individual with no confirmed connection to the actual abduction. The FBI was explicit about this distinction. The man later charged in connection with that second communication was, in their words, trying to profit from the case and had no evidence to connect him to Nancy's disappearance. These are two entirely separate threads, and conflating them would be a serious investigative error. The legitimate note, the one sent to KOLD, carried financial demands with a time-sensitive element, according to reporting by officials briefed on its contents. Sheriff Nanos, when questioned about the number of perpetrators, admitted he had no clue how many people might have been involved, stating, "It could have been one. It could have been more." This uncertainty highlighted the clandestine nature of the operation and the challenges facing investigators. The public response from Savannah Guthrie, a prominent figure on national television, has been both heartbreaking and remarkably composed. As co-host of NBC's Today Show, Savannah is accustomed to delivering news, but this time the news was deeply personal and devastating. Her legal background, having earned a Juris Doctor from the University of Arizona, undoubtedly shaped her measured and strategic public statements. On February 4th, Savannah recorded a tearful video alongside her siblings Annie and Cameron, directly addressing her mother's abductors. Her words were carefully chosen, conveying both desperation and a clear demand for proof of life. She stated, "We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world in which voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know without a doubt that she's alive and that you have her." This plea underscored the family's profound need for reassurance amidst the uncertainty. The emotional weight of broadcasting every day on national television while her mother was missing must have been immense, a testament to her professionalism and resilience. As the days progressed, the family continued to release videos, each a poignant appeal. On February 7th, in their third video, Savannah reiterated their willingness to cooperate, saying, "We've received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us and we will pay." These statements, carefully crafted, were designed to communicate directly with the abductors, signaling compliance while still seeking proof of Nancy's well-being. Even after the second ransom deadline passed on February 9th without new developments, Savannah posted a fourth video, broadening her appeal to the general public, urging anyone with information to come forward. Her public statements, delivered with raw emotion yet strategic intent, became a crucial part of the family's desperate efforts to bring Nancy home, showcasing the immense personal toll of this high-profile abduction. The Nest doorbell camera, initially thought to be a dead end because the physical device was missing after the abduction, became a crucial piece of evidence thanks to sophisticated digital forensics. Here's what actually happened and why it matters. Nancy did not have an active Google Home Premium subscription, which means her system was configured to loop and overwrite footage locally. As Sheriff Nanos himself explained in a press briefing, they had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops right and covers up. What the FBI recovered was not footage preserved through a cloud plan, but residual data fragments, partial frames and metadata that Google's back-end infrastructure temporarily retains before final deletion, regardless of subscription status. The FBI, working directly with Google and almost certainly armed with a warrant, retrieved these fragments from the company's servers. This distinction matters because it accurately reflects the real-world mechanics of cloud forensics. Data doesn't simply vanish the moment a device goes offline or a subscription lapses. Traces linger in back-end systems, and experienced investigators know exactly where to look. The recovered footage, though fragmented, provided the first tangible glimpse of the perpetrator. It showed a masked person, wearing gloves and a backpack, approaching Nancy's front door. The suspect was seen deliberately covering the camera with a gloved hand, then meticulously picking up shrubbery to further obscure the lens. This act alone spoke volumes about the perpetrator's planning and premeditation. According to FBI analysis of the recovered footage, investigators noted what appeared to be a firearm on the suspect, one that Sheriff Nanos publicly described as having some pretty unique characteristics, unusual enough that agents began visiting gun shops across Tucson, seeking anyone who might recognize the style or configuration. The recovery of this footage, despite the physical camera being missing, underscores the power of digital forensics and the persistent digital footprint we all leave behind, even when attempting to erase our tracks. It transformed the investigation from a blind search into one with a clear, albeit masked, image of the abductor. The suspect, as revealed by the recovered Nest footage and subsequent FBI analysis, presents a profile of someone meticulous and prepared. The individual was described as male, approximately 5'9" to 5'10" tall, with an average build. His attire was designed for concealment and anonymity. A ski mask obscured his face, gloves covered his hands, and he carried a backpack. The deliberate actions captured on camera, first covering the lens with a gloved hand, then using shrubbery to further obscure it, demonstrate a clear understanding of security systems and a calculated effort to avoid identification. This wasn't a spontaneous act, it was a planned operation. The fact that he took the time to disable the camera so thoroughly, rather than simply smashing it or ignoring it, speaks to a level of operational security that is often seen in more sophisticated criminal enterprises. This individual was not merely opportunistic, he was methodical, indicating a potential background in surveillance or extensive research and planning. The FBI's detailed physical description and analysis of his actions provide critical clues, turning a shadowy figure into a composite of specific, actionable details for investigators. One of the most promising leads in the investigation centers around a seemingly innocuous item, a black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack, identified from the recovered Nest footage. Investigators confirmed the backpack model and noted that items matching the suspect's attire may have been purchased at Walmart. However, and this is a critical distinction, the Pima County Sheriff's Department explicitly stated that the backpack is not exclusively sold at Walmart. This matters because it means the FBI's retail investigation is not confined to a single chain. Agents are working across multiple Arizona retailers, reviewing purchase records, surveillance footage, and transaction data in search of anyone who bought that specific model in the weeks or months leading up to the abduction. A cash purchase would complicate tracing, but store surveillance could still capture a buyer's face. Loyalty card transactions, on the other hand, provide a direct link to a customer's identity and purchase history. This painstaking process of sifting through vast amounts of retail data is a classic investigative technique, but in a case of this magnitude, it becomes a critical pathway to identifying a suspect. The backpack, a common item, paradoxically becomes a unique identifier when placed in the context of a meticulously planned crime, offering a tangible thread that could unravel the entire mystery. Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker has emerged as a unique and potentially crucial piece of forensic evidence. Modern pacemakers are sophisticated medical devices that not only regulate heart rhythms, but also often transmit data wirelessly to a patient's phone or a remote monitoring system. This data can include heart rate, device function, and even activity levels. The fact that Nancy's pacemaker app disconnected from her phone between 2:28 a.m. and 2:29 a.m. on February 1st is highly significant. Given that investigators believe Nancy was most likely asleep at the time of the intrusion, the disconnection most probably occurred because her phone was removed from her vicinity, taken by the abductor, or damaged during the abduction, rather than through any conscious action on Nancy's part. The precise timestamp provides a narrow window of when a critical event occurred, and the data itself serves as an objective, unalterable record that no perpetrator could have anticipated or erased. This isn't the first time medical device data has been used as forensic evidence. A landmark case in Connecticut involving Richard Debate in 2015 set a precedent. In that case, data from a Fitbit fitness tracker belonging to Debate's wife was used to contradict his account of her murder. The Fitbit data showed her moving around their home at times when Debate claimed she was already dead, providing crucial evidence that helped convict him. Similarly, in Nancy's case, the pacemaker data could potentially corroborate or contradict future statements, establish a precise timeline of events, or even indicate a struggle. While the pacemaker itself doesn't record video or audio, its digital footprint provides an objective, unalterable record of activity, making it an invaluable silent witness to the terrifying events of that night. The implications of this data are profound, offering a unique window into the moments leading up to Nancy's disappearance. The discovery of DNA evidence and multiple gloves has added another critical layer to the investigation. During the extensive search, multiple gloves were found, some as far as 2 miles from Nancy's home, suggesting a deliberate attempt by the perpetrator to discard evidence along a planned escape route. On February 13th, investigators announced a significant breakthrough. DNA had been recovered from Nancy's property, belonging to someone other than Nancy Guthrie and those in close contact to her. This confirmed the presence of an unknown male at the scene. 2 days later, on February 15th, the FBI officially confirmed that DNA from an unknown male found on a glove appeared to match the gloves worn by the suspect in the doorbell camera footage. This direct link between the physical evidence and the visual evidence was a major step forward. The next logical step was to run this DNA profile through CODIS, the FBI's combined DNA index system, a national database containing over 19 million DNA profiles, primarily from convicted offenders, arrestees, and forensic evidence from unsolved crimes. On February 17th, the DNA from the gloves was processed through CODIS, but it returned no matches. This no-match scenario, while initially disappointing, does not mean there is no suspect. It simply means the perpetrator's DNA is not currently in the CODIS database, possibly because the individual has no prior criminal record, or their record is from a jurisdiction that doesn't submit DNA to CODIS, or they committed crimes before DNA collection became standard practice. Faced with this outcome, investigators began exploring investigative genetic genealogy, or IgG options. IgG is a revolutionary forensic technique that works by uploading an unknown DNA sample to public genealogy databases like GEDmatch or Family Tree DNA, which allow users to upload raw DNA data to find relatives. Even if the suspect themselves has never used Ancestry or 23andMe, a distant cousin might have. By building a family tree backward and forward from these distant relatives, genealogists can narrow down potential suspects to a specific family line, and eventually to an individual. This technique famously led to the arrest of Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, in 2018, and was also instrumental in identifying Brian Kohberger in the Idaho murders. IgG is a powerful tool that can work even if the suspect has meticulously avoided leaving their DNA in official databases, by leveraging the genetic connections within their extended family. In the search for Nancy Guthrie, law enforcement deployed advanced tracking technology designed to map the movements of devices near the crime scene during the relevant time frame. These are tools that federal agencies, by long-standing policy, do not discuss publicly. A deliberate practice intended to protect the integrity of active investigations and prevent suspects from anticipating investigative methods. What matters from an investigative standpoint is the result: the ability to place specific devices at specific locations within narrow windows of time, providing a layer of accountability that traditional surveillance cannot always offer. Despite ongoing legal and privacy debates surrounding the use of such technologies in law enforcement, Their deployment in high-stakes cases like Nancy Guthrie's abduction reflects the FBI's commitment to utilizing every available lawful tool to locate the victim and apprehend the perpetrator. The investigation also leveraged the power of community surveillance networks through the Ring Neighbors app. Ring, owned by Amazon, has created a vast network of doorbell cameras and security devices, and its Neighbors app allows users to share footage and alerts with their local community and, crucially, with law enforcement. In Nancy Guthrie's case, investigators issued a request through the Ring Neighbors app, asking residents within a 2-mile radius of her home to submit any surveillance footage they might have from January 1st through February 2nd. This crowdsourcing of surveillance footage transforms individual home security cameras into a collective investigative tool. The sheer volume of Ring devices in suburban areas means that a perpetrator's movements, even if fleeting, can be captured by multiple cameras. This network can help establish timelines, identify vehicles, or even track a suspect's path before and after a crime. While incredibly useful for investigations, this partnership between private companies and law enforcement also raises significant privacy concerns. The creation of such a pervasive surveillance network means that citizens' movements and activities are increasingly subject to scrutiny, blurring the lines between public and private spaces. For the Nancy Guthrie case, however, it represents a vital effort to piece together every possible visual clue, hoping that one frame, one fleeting image, might lead to a breakthrough. The proximity of Tucson to the US-Mexico border introduces a complex and challenging dimension to the investigation that investigators are actively pursuing. The I-19 highway, a direct route from Tucson to Nogales, Mexico, serves as a major artery for both legitimate cross-border traffic and, unfortunately, illicit activities. For a suspect seeking to evade capture, crossing into Mexico represents a calculated risk. While entering Mexico from the US can be relatively straightforward, especially for US citizens, the vast, rugged terrain along the border, coupled with established smuggling routes, can offer alternative, less monitored pathways. Investigators have already briefed US Border Patrol and Mexican law enforcement authorities, indicating a serious consideration of this possibility. Coordination between US and Mexican authorities is a complex process, often involving multiple agencies, differing legal frameworks, and varying levels of operational cooperation. The financial nature of the demands made in connection with this case, specifically the preference for digital currency, further broadens the scope of possible investigative angles, even if no direct link to organized cross-border criminal activity has been confirmed. The question of whether the perpetrator is now hiding south of the border, or whether elements of this abduction were orchestrated from across it, remains a critical, open thread in the investigation. What the FBI won't tell you is often as important as what they do disclose. The Federal Bureau of Investigation operates with a deliberate media silence strategy, a calculated approach designed to protect the integrity of their investigations and ensure the best possible outcome. They withhold information primarily to avoid tipping off suspects, to protect victims and their families from further harm, and to preserve the prosecution's case by not revealing sensitive details that only the perpetrator would know. In Nancy Guthrie's case, the FBI has established a 24-hour command post staffed with crisis management experts, a clear indication of the high priority and complexity of the investigation. They are likely utilizing resources from the Hostage Recovery Fusion Cell, or HRFC, established in 2015, which brings together experts from various agencies to coordinate hostage and kidnapping responses. Beyond the public statements, the FBI employs a range of sophisticated, often undisclosed tactics. Alongside the advanced tracking technologies already discussed, investigators can obtain legal orders, compelling technology companies to provide data on devices present within specific geographical areas during defined timeframes, a powerful tool for reconstructing a suspect's movements before and after a crime. Federal financial investigators also have established capabilities to trace digital currency transactions and in cases involving ransom demands, those capabilities are routinely and quietly deployed as part of the broader investigation. Furthermore, forensic linguistic analysis of written communications can reveal crucial details about the author's background, regional patterns, and psychological profile. All these silent, meticulous efforts are part of the FBI's relentless pursuit, working behind the scenes, often without public acknowledgement, to bring Nancy Guthrie home and apprehend her abductors. The exploitation of this case by opportunists has added a painful and operationally costly layer to an already complex investigation. Separately from the legitimate ransom note sent to KOLD News 13, the FBI confirmed that at least one individual was charged with sending a fraudulent communication, an attempt to extort money with no actual connection to Nancy's abduction. The FBI was unambiguous. This person was trying to profit from the case and had no evidence to connect him to Nancy's disappearance. Such incidents pose significant challenges for investigators because each fake lead and fraudulent claim requires valuable resources, time, manpower, and expertise to verify and rule out. This diverts attention away from legitimate investigative pathways, potentially delaying progress in the real search for Nancy. These distractions, though frustrating, are an unfortunate reality in major criminal investigations, adding another layer of complexity to an already intricate puzzle. The question of whether Nancy Guthrie's abduction was random or targeted remains a central agonizing mystery. Sheriff Nanos, on February 18th, told NBC's Liz Kreutz that he believes the suspect had a target for whatever reason, a statement that strongly suggests investigators lean toward a premeditated, targeted abduction rather than a random act of violence. The sophistication of the operation supports this theory. The masked entry, the precise timing of the pacemaker disconnection, the deliberate sabotage of the Nest camera, the careful disposal of gloves 2 miles from the scene all point to a well-executed plan. The possibility of an accomplice further complicates this, suggesting a coordinated effort rather than a lone actor. However, the motive remains elusive. Sheriff Nanos admitted that detectives are stuck for a motive, asking plainly, is it revenge for something? This open question highlights the difficulty in profiling the perpetrator. Is the motive purely financial? Is it personal? Perhaps someone with a grievance against Nancy or her family? Could it be tied to her daughter Savannah's prominence on national television, making this a calculated act of leverage? Without a clear motive, investigators face a broader range of possibilities, making the search for answers even more challenging. The meticulous nature of the crime suggests a perpetrator who is not only capable but also highly motivated, leaving law enforcement to grapple with the profound question of why. The human cost of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance is immeasurable. For weeks, her family has lived in agonizing limbo, grappling with the terror of not knowing her fate. Savannah Guthrie, a public figure, has had to navigate the unimaginable pain of her mother's abduction while maintaining her professional duties on national television. Her composure, while remarkable, belies the profound emotional toll this ordeal has taken on her and her siblings, Annie and Cameron. The community of Catalina Foothills, once a bastion of tranquility, has been shaken to its core. Neighbors and well-wishers have left yellow flowers and ribbons outside Nancy's home, a poignant display of solidarity and hope. A sign simply stating, "Let Nancy come home," encapsulates the collective yearning for her safe return. Nancy Guthrie, at 84 years old, represents a generation, the silent generation, often characterized by resilience and quiet dignity. Her life, a testament to enduring faith and independence, now hangs in the balance. The thought of a mother, a grandmother, a cherished member of her community, being subjected to such a terrifying ordeal weighs heavily on the hearts of many. This case is a stark reminder of the vulnerability that can touch anyone, regardless of their background or perceived security, and the profound impact such a crime has on an entire family and community. As the investigation moves forward, the efforts to find Nancy Guthrie continue relentlessly. The FBI's investigative genetic genealogy team is undoubtedly working tirelessly, building family trees from the recovered DNA, hoping to identify a familial link to the perpetrator. Purchase records for the Ozark Trail backpack are being meticulously scrutinized across multiple Arizona retailers, a painstaking process that could yield crucial leads. Coordination with Mexican law enforcement authorities remains a vital component, exploring every possible avenue across the border. The reward for information leading to Nancy's safe return or the arrest of her abductors has grown substantially, combining FBI funds, Pima County Sheriff's contributions and private donations, a powerful incentive for anyone with information to come forward. The continued search, the deployment of advanced forensic techniques, and the unwavering dedication of law enforcement agencies represent a multifaceted approach to cracking this complex case. What it will ultimately take to bring Nancy home or to uncover the truth of her disappearance remains uncertain. It could be a single tip, a DNA match through genetic genealogy, a surveillance camera catching a fleeting image, or a breakthrough in digital forensics. The case remains open, a stark reminder that justice, though sometimes slow, is relentlessly pursued. The story of Nancy Guthrie is a chilling testament to the fragility of peace and the enduring strength of a family's love. It's a case that reminds us that even in the most secure-seeming environments, darkness can intrude. We at Blackline Archive will continue to follow this story closely, hoping for a resolution that brings Nancy home and provides answers to her grieving family. If you have any information, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, please contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-225-5324, or the Pima County Sheriff's Department at 520-351-4900. Your tip could be the one that makes all the difference. We encourage you to share your thoughts and theories respectfully in the comments below. What do you think is the most crucial piece of evidence in this investigation? Do you believe the perpetrator acted alone, or was there an accomplice? Your engagement helps keep these stories in the public consciousness, reminding everyone that these are real people, real lives and real injustices that demand our attention. If you found this deep dive into the Nancy Guthrie case informative, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Blackline Archive for more in-depth true crime documentaries. Your support helps us continue to bring these important stories to light.